Well, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Point of Rentals Director of Sales in the AMER region in the Americas. It's Andy Clark. Andy, welcome to the Front Porch.
Oh, thanks. Glad to be here, I think.
Good.
Welcome to the Front Porch with Brian Beaudry.
What do you say your title is when people ask? Because I can't imagine what I just said going over very well with anyone.
I just either say I'm the sales manager or the sales director over the Americas.
Okay, so all right.
AMER just doesn't roll off the tongue very well. So.
No, all the other ones have they're an actual, a contraction or a set of letters.
APAC.
It's like
EMEA.
Yeah.
Maybe EMEA is not the greatest either. I don't know.
I go with EMEA. So
EMEA.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dang.
APAC's got the best, coolest name for sure.
Exactly. It's definitely a very clear one. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Who are you? Where are you from? And since you're leading our sales team, we need to lean into the sales stereotypes and sell me this Point of Rental baseball cap.
All right. Well, I'll back up to the first question. So, as you said, Andy Clark, sales director over the Americas. What was the next question? Where am I from?
Yes, where are you from?
I'm from Arlington. I was born in Arlington. I did move away from Arlington for 4 years during high school, about 20 minutes down the road into Grand Prairie, next town over.
Ooh, that was
the
long
furthest.
one.
Yeah, it's the furthest I've ever lived away from Arlington. Graduated, turned 18, moved out of the house, right back to Arlington. Been here ever since. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then what was it? Sell you this hat?
The baseball cap. There's so many things you could tell me right here.
The sell me this pen moment. Is that what this
exactly?
is?
But I didn't want to do the pen because everyone loves our pen. That's very popular.
That's easy to say. Yeah. All right, so I'll follow some of our sales process.
Okay.
So Brian, I talk to a lot of people. They wake up on the wrong side of the bed every morning. They just they can't get it together. They know they're having a bad hair day. I don't suppose that ever happens to you.
Yeah, this is. I realize I'm giving you a pretty good in right here because I was thinking earlier today, my hair not doing so great today.
I wasn't going to say anything, but it looks like you could use a hat. Let's go with that.
That's fair. I could, but why should I use the Point of Rental hat? What's unique about this one?
Well, you want to represent, right?
It's true. I do.
Yeah.
I do have all this Point of Rental stuff around here. So.
Yeah. Look where you are. You wouldn't come in here with a Texada hat now, would you?
That's
so let's
true.
let's just be realistic with each other here.
Okay. Well, I think that was kind of an easy one because I am kind of, I don't know, I'm very in the market for this. So.
Yeah, you were asking me the other day about where I got that hat.
Yep, that's true.
Awesome.
Okay, let's go back into your job history and your job present. What did you want to be when you were a kid, whenever you remember first having an answer to the question, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I have no idea. So, little kids, they always want to be astronauts, police, firemen.
Or all of them at the same time.
Yeah. Superheroes, basically. I think if you had asked me whenever I could have actually thought about it, whenever I was a dumb kid in high school, I probably would have said that, I wanted to be a pro rodeo cowboy or something like that. That was kind of.
Did you ever actually do rodeo?
I did do rodeo in high school. Yeah. So I was on the North Texas High School Rodeo Association. Yeah. So I thought that was awesome. Chicks dig it.
It sounds pretty cool. Wait, what? This is something I didn't know about at all. So what were you doing in the rodeo?
I rode bulls.
Okay.
For a time there in the rodeo until I didn't anymore.
Did a bull win one that you were just like, nope?
Yeah, they won most of them, to be quite honest with you. Even when you come out successful on that, you still feel like you've been in a car accident. So, yeah, they won most of them. Finally, one too many trips to the hospital.
Okay.
We quit that. I wasn't any good. I can tell you that right now. But
yeah,
when you're a high school kid, it definitely accomplishes the goal. I can tell you that. It was fun. I had a great time doing it, but yeah, I wasn't very good at it.
What was the name of the last bull you rode, or do you remember? Is that something that I'm not a rodeo expert, but I feel like you would remember the name of the bull that ends
I
your
actually
career.
haven't thought about it in over 20 years, obviously, but I want to say that it was number 4, I think was the name of this bull. I remember specifically that most of the times they would cut the bull's horns so that if you did get gored, it would be more like a punch to the ribs and not a puncture to the lung, so to speak. And so I remember getting on it. First time my dad ever showed up because he disapproved of it. And this was the bull that I drew. And so I got on it, and they had not cut the horns. So they looked like,
Oh, wow.
they looked sharp. But got to do what you got to do. So I got on, and we had a good ride, and I ended up getting thrown off, but my hand didn't come out. So I got hung up on him, stepped on a bunch of times, last trip to the hospital type of thing, so.
That's definitely like a, if dad's disapproving, that's definitely see, son.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's pretty much how it went too. So did I tell you or did I tell you? So yeah, it was like that. My parents told me I was done. I wasn't going to do it anymore. All my buddies were over, and I just threw a fit, oh, this is ridiculous and that. They left, and I was like, I'm good with it. It's all good. My mom loves telling that story today.
It's one of those where you're like protesting in front of them, but you're like, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I was done with it. I realized when this is not a good fit, so that hurt. So I'm done.
All right. So what did you end up doing out of school? I assume since, getting stomped almost out by a bull, that causes you to give up on that dream. So,
yeah, that dream died right then.
So job wise, what did you end up doing out of school?
I tried college. I did that for, a couple of years. I was going to get my associate's degree. Then I was going to go, transfer that from a community college to a 4-year, get my bachelor's.
Yeah.
But I just didn't like it. I can't stand school. So that didn't pan out. In fact, I dropped out of that in the middle of a semester of the last class that I needed to actually get the associate's degree. And, I had the old I'll take a year off and then go back. Maybe I should still do that. I don't know, but I never did.
I was going to say, I feel like you could just finish that one credit.
I don't know. I'm sure that the
probably
criteria has changed now and I have to start over or something. But yeah, no, I'm not interested in it. It's just not for me. And I didn't do that. So I just worked some jobs, off and on in some construction type fields, learned a lot of great stuff. And then, just making ends meet, right? Paying the bills for the apartment complex type of thing. Then I decided to go work at the family business as an outside sales rep for what I thought was a pretty large territory. It's nothing compared to the territories that the reps have had over the years at Point of Rental. But
now that you're over the entire Americas, I figure it's
that's
probably
a pretty big territory, right? Yeah. No, but I did that, and I realized that I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, sales, the relationships. It was a totally different type of sale than what we do here. My family owned a packaging manufacturer, so I was a manufacturer's rep, basically.
So when you say packaging, are you talking about like customized packaging or just like generic cardboard boxes, or what's packaging?
Actually,
in this situation,
they made two specific things. They made paper tubes and cores.
Okay.
So a very small example of that would be, the paper towel, toilet paper, little paper core.
My daughter's favorite thing.
Yeah, exactly. Kids love them. All the way up to huge cores on, for large, manufacturing, like roofing shingles, things like that. Cores that are, an inch thick, 12 feet long, 12 inches in diameter. Truckloads and things like that. And so they also made paper corner protectors, that you see on pallets.
Yes.
So they actually still own the company. My wife still works there, here in Arlington.
Well, I mean, you can't leave Arlington. Apparently, that's
we're that is the one thing I'll say. I want to get out of Arlington as quickly as possible. So my last kid in public school graduated just last week.
Nice.
So
Congratulations.
now I'm kind of free to do. Oh, thanks. I'm kind of free to do what I want to do now. So we'll see what happens.
Now you've come all the way to the office in Fort Worth.
Yeah, exactly. 25 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. We already kind of got into some of the career highlights before this. So did you go straight from working at your family business to point of rental, or was there anywhere between there?
No, I wanted to kind of get away from the family, and so I went to work for a company called CarMax,
Okay.
where I just wanted to sell. It was a temporary thing. Selling cars doesn't really suit me. I'm not really interested in it. But then I realized after getting there, I was pretty good. I was pretty good at it. And
I was going to say, why doesn't selling cars suit you? Like, is there a difference? Or?
At the time, I just didn't want the stereotypical car salesman stigma around me. So, but I needed to get away from, what I was doing, kind of get out on my own, totally different, something else. And so I ended up going there just for a temporary while I found something better.
Yeah.
But I ended up really liking it. It's CarMax is a different type of company. It's a corporation nationwide, publicly traded. It's not a privately owned like most car dealerships, and so their philosophy and everything was a lot different and suited me pretty well. I did pretty well. It wasn't about the negotiation of the numbers, but more about the benefits of their products versus other people's, and that's a thing that resonates with me. And I ended up going into management there, and which is at that type of place where there's no negotiating. Sorry, I used the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable there.
Yeah.
But there's no negotiating on the price, so more on the financing side and the training side, is what I did in that role, and I loved it. I was really good at it.
Yeah, it sounds like it fits in pretty well with what you're doing here at Point of Rental.
Yeah.
But so how did you find Point of Rental? Because, again, I don't think that we usually go recruiting at car lots.
Car dealerships, yeah. No, I've known Wayne for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Most people that know me know that's how I, made my connection to Point of Rental. I've known Wayne probably, I guess, 21 years now. And so we had a lot of front porch conversations, about sales and, sales philosophy and approach to sales and things like that. And, a few years later, I think Point of Rental was at a point where they needed another sales manager. They had Greg Bennett at the time, which was the head of sales at the time. And, growth was happening and they needed somebody else to come in and take a role like that. And so that's how it happened.
I was going to say, is it a case where these conversations progressively become more, now it feels like these questions are getting awfully specific about how my management and sales techniques are.
Sometimes, I could see the wheels turning in Wayne's head around some of our conversations. We didn't agree on everything, and but
do you still not agree on everything?
Yeah, we still don't agree on everything, of course. But yeah, for the most part, I think that's what resonated was, our approach. And when I say our approach at the time, it was, I was pretty much really bought into the CarMax approach of sales, which is kind of what I said earlier.
Yeah.
And I think that piece kind of resonated. And now having been at Point of Rental for a really long time, I certainly see why, right? Because obviously it's not, it can't be about price. It's got to be about, benefits and solutions and things like that. And so I think there was some alignment there and a need. And so it just kind of made sense, at least to Wayne, thank goodness.
At least the one person who it needed to make sense to, it made sense to them.
Yeah.
Good. I do remember you came aboard just like a little bit before I did in 2016, I think.
Yeah.
And, it kind of seemed like you'd been here for a long time when I got here, but I think that's how it works when you're a new person.
Right.
But since I've been here, you're one of the folks who's had a titled position that's changed a bunch of times in a nonlinear way. Is this a thing that like you've asked for throughout the process, or is it a case where like the company needs someone in this position and you're like, yeah, I got it. or how are those working out?
I guess kind of both. I was brought on as a sales manager, and then after doing that for a few years, shortly after we moved into this office, Greg was still over sales at the time, and I was just really seeing a better fit, for me as a salesperson and not a sales manager, right? At the time, and I really had, a lot of confidence in what I'd be able to bring to the table as a salesperson. So I told Greg and Wayne, I approached him with it, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And, I said, I think I can bring a lot of value in the role. And maybe some of the areas where I fall short based on what this role looks like today, somebody else would be able to step in and, bring more value into that role. And so it could be a win-win. They were on board with it. And so that was the direction we were going. And so I want to say it was March 2020. Mid-March 2020 was going to be whenever I took on a vertical specific role as a sales rep in the event industry. Huh?
So you caused
I
COVID.
caused COVID, yeah. And so, so I remember with me and Zeke were at the special event show in Vegas, happened at the same time the Con Expo was. And that was when, Trump came out, said pandemic, closing the airports, closing the borders, everything's shut down. The show emptied, Vegas emptied, the Con Expo emptied. It was just, everything died. And
I was going to say, were you able to get straight back, or did you have to
drive? Yeah. Luckily, our flight was still on and everything. Cool. And I remember being at the airport, with all of this COVID talk going on and nobody knowing what was going on. And I'm sitting here eating a bag of fired, Cheetos.
Yeah.
And I remember licking my fingers, with all that red sauce that gets on your fingers. And I thought to myself, I probably shouldn't be doing that,
I'm sure the Flamin' Hot will kill it.
The Flamin' Hot ought to kill the COVID. So, but no, I was able to get back, and obviously the event industry shut down, which is specifically what I was going to do.
Yeah,
so
not a great time.
So it just didn't pan out. I ended up doing some special projects. I remember we did the e-sign thing, so I worked pretty hard on that with the free e-sign to the industry type of offering that we did, and that was fun. And
can I take us back a step though? I know you said it was like a better fit for you, but how do you even come up with this idea? I know a lot of people will see like management as kind of their goal, and they would want to go, and they would consider like switching to a sales role as like a step down, or they're not progressing. How did you approach just saying like I'd rather go for fit than like whatever else?
Yeah, well, I think that's a problem with a lot of the current prescription in society, right, so to speak, is everybody follows a certain path or thinks that this certain path is right, and I don't think that makes any sense. Do what you feel like fits you, and you're going to be able to do well, right? I mean, salespeople are the highest paid, people in the world, right? And so if you do good at, if you do a good job at what you do, it fits you, it comes naturally, and, and you have some success with it, grow in that field, right? And if management makes sense, and that's, it's a totally different thing though, it's a leadership type of thing. And so I do a lot of interviews. People, hey, what are your short-term goals? Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you see yourself in 5? And almost everybody says the exact same thing you just said. Hey, I'd like to start in, get my feet wet, ultimately move into a leadership role, go into management, and so on. I always stop them, and I say, I don't want to push back against what your goals are, but why do you feel that you would be good in management? Just because you're a good salesperson doesn't mean you're going to be a good sales manager, right? Which is typically what ends up happening is people pick their best salespeople and then put them in leadership roles, and it's it's a train wreck.
Yeah, I believe I saw this in the documentary The Office.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's a great example, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's a mistake in my opinion. I don't feel like I'm a bad leader if the leadership role and the direction of the company and things like that are aligned with the way I like to lead and the things I like to lead in, right? At the time, totally different leadership at Point of Rental, and the sales side of things didn't necessarily align. It wasn't a bad thing, right? I wasn't hating the job or anything like that, but that didn't necessarily align. And so at the time, it made more sense for me to do the thing that I knew I could excel at and did fit, which was sales. And quite frankly, I could have made more money, doing that. And so that was my thought process at the time. I could be a little happier, a little less outside of my comfort zone, a little more along the things that I know suit me, and I can grow in that role. So, I'm always looking for growth. Just being a manager, that doesn't mean growth, right? And so,
all right. And then, the event industry died for a year
and
kind of derailed you.
Yeah. So, I wasn't doing management type things at that point. I was doing some, like I said, the special project stuff, but then, our inside sales team became depleted, and they didn't have a leader in that role. And there's just a lot of details in an inside sales role here. There's a lot of tribal knowledge that I had, and I think I was like the only logical choice at that point to step into that role, and so I did, and I enjoyed it because I was building something, right? I think Russell was the only inside sales guy at the time, so he was running around with his hair on fire, trying to get everything done, and there were a lot of gaps that were identified, and we were able to put a funnel process in place or whatever that closed a lot of those gaps, and I ended up having a blast because it was really project oriented, and as we grew the team, we started killing it, and so that was fun. I was having a great time, and so it was just a different role than I was in the first management role.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, because it seems like you're a manager now, so it seems like you weren't like against being a manager. It was just that situation where it's like, let's
right. If it lines up with what I can do well at and I can add value, then and feel good about it, then that makes sense. Which is what I'm doing now. Basically, I'm in the same role I was when I got hired, but it's a different philosophy.
Yeah.
And it lines up a lot more with what I enjoy. The building aspect of it, the growth, the learning on my end on, what all of this should look like. And I see what the end is supposed to look like. And the process of getting to that point, has been pretty fun. I'm pretty excited about it. So.
Good. So would you say that's your favorite part of your current role at Point of Rental is building?
Yeah, it's the building piece of it, right? Like we're building something. We're building towards something. We know what we want to accomplish. We know the tools that we have to accomplish them. It's all been laid out. We've thought, the revenue leadership team, we thought, countless hours putting together what could be, and how could it be, right? And just it's been, oh man, this has been a blast. Yeah, I'm really having a good time right now. This is the most fun I've ever had in any job right now.
Good. That's kind of, I think what you want to be doing is just having more and more fun.
Yeah, if if it lines up with what makes sense for you, it's not a job at that point. It's something that you're working on and you're accomplishing and you're building and you're trying to get to the goal. And so that's what I feel like is happening right now. I hope everybody else on the leadership or revenue leadership team feels that way. I think they do. We've got a ton of good camaraderie, I guess, on the team, and aligned in thought process and philosophy, and I think it shows. So
cool. What advice do you have for someone considering getting into software sales? Like if you're Wayne in this scenario, talking with some other neighbor, what advice would you have to someone, trying to get into software sales or a leadership role in general?
Yeah, well, on the leadership piece, I'll back up to what I said earlier. If that makes sense for you, I would say why. Why do you feel like you'd be a good leader? And what type of leadership role are we talking about here? What makes sense for you? But as far as getting into software sales, man, it's a competitive business, and you've got to be able to differentiate yourself from the others. And that's not just the product. Obviously, the product has a ton to do with that, but how to, you've got to be willing to accept feedback, grow, and get outside of your comfort zone to figure out new ways of doing things in a business that is constantly changing, right?
Yeah.
Our competitors are constantly nipping at our heels. They're looking for the edge. They're looking for better ways to do things. And so, if you come into a software company, any software company, and you say, I have the prescription, I have the way, I'll do it. And that's how it is. And I'm not going to be able to change because I don't need to, because I've already got it figured out. Man, you're going to be dead wrong. So just understand what you're getting yourself into, the type of business this is, and be willing to, be moldable, be willing to change, and, grow.
Yeah, I've noticed that our sales team, they are very good at taking feedback and adjusting, and like being on the marketing side of things, I can't imagine like people listening to my phone calls and judging like every single aspect of things. I say as I'm recording something that I'll put in video online for everyone to judge, but it's still just like, it's one of those things where it's like, man, I would be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is, and it can be an uncomfortable thing. Role playing, in sales, the type of activities that you need to do in order to be able to grow are get out of your own way, get out of your own head, take the feedback, understand, it's constructive, it's designed to help you be more effective, make more money, things like that. It's still hard. It is hard. People's natural instinct is to be defensive and things like that. But yeah, you got to be moldable. Our team has gone through so many changes, from when I came on. I mean, the landscape doesn't look anything like it did. We've got some veteran sales reps, like John Hoffer, Mark Jordan, been here for a really long time. And, the process and the plan and the tools and the software itself, I mean, nothing looks like it did when they came on board. And so it's been a lot of change, and these guys have rolled with the punches. And, I think that they've learned a lot about, what other ways of doing things and what's possible, and grown themselves. At least I feel like that.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's take a break and head into whatever the next section is.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, before we get into your non-professional life, I want to play a game with you. We'll call it Andy or and don't.
Okay.
If you agree with the statement or say it's true, say Andy. If you disagree with it or if it's false, say and don't.
And Andy and don't. All right.
Yeah. I'll need a reason after these, of course. So
Okay.
the first one is you've hidden snacks so that no one else will find them and you can eat them later.
Oh,
Andy or and don't.
Andy. Yeah, definitely been doing that my whole life.
What's the big snack that you're most likely to hide?
Well, I just remember the first thing I thought of when you asked that question was when I was a kid, I used to sneak into the pantry in the kitchen, and I would grab like a huge stack of Oreo cookies, like my mom wouldn't notice that they were gone, like a half a sleeve, Then I would go sit in the living room and watch cartoons, and I would stick the cookies under the couch behind me and, look around and eat them, So the fact that I thought she had no idea was, what was funny. But yeah, I don't know why I remember doing that.
That's a good memory. All right, Andy or and don't. If you could find out how you were going to die, you would want to know. Again, I'm not actually threatening this. It's a hypothetical.
Well, that's good. If it was a threat, it's Andy, but otherwise, it's definitely an and don't.
Okay. Is there a reason that you don't want to know this?
Yeah, I don't want to be thinking about that. I just live every second that I can until that day comes, and however it happens, that's how it happens.
All right. Well, hopefully it's not going to happen like on a bull, because you're not going back.
That's done. That's done. Don't have to worry about that. Hopefully it happens in the bonus years, what I call the bonus years.
Okay. Okay. Andy or and don't. You've told an outrageous lie to a child.
Yeah, Andy, I'm sure. Just think about some of the things that we all tell our kids, Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, and
gosh, spoiler alert for any kids out there listening.
Yeah. But I don't even know. Yeah, probably tons of times,
Or like sometimes you'll have to be like, this thing's illegal, but really it's just whatever you're doing is annoying and just stop it.
Or if if you touch that, you'll die, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I've ever told my kids that.
I was going to say, now I want to know what things were legal.
Yeah.
All right. Andy or and don't. You prefer working from home to working at the office?
Oh, Andy. I get so much more done working from home. My relationships are still just as strong. but I'm able to focus a lot more on the task at hand without all the distractions of the people walking around. Not that, people walking around saying hello is bad, but it always, oftentimes I'm a pretty social person, so it develops into conversations. And, if I've been in the office this morning, and I stopped by and saw some guys I hadn't seen in a while and turned into a 30-minute conversation. And I'm like, well, that's point of rental time gone.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a great environment to work from home. I really enjoy that, but you got to come in sometimes, see people, and have, meetings and grow relationships and all that's important too. But no, I definitely prefer working from home.
And I mean, come on, the drive here is like the longest you've gone from.
Yeah, it's as farthest I've ever been away from my house. Yeah, no, it's yeah. But I mean, think about that. It's an hour in the car a day.
Yeah.
That now I'm working during that hour, and oftentimes because there's no break, that that 5 o'clock end of day break where you pack your stuff up and you go to the house. That now I usually just burn through that at work, and I'll look up, it'll be 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'm still working. So I definitely think point of rental is winning in this scenario.
I was going to say, don't burn yourself out, Andy. I've heard warnings about this.
Yeah, point of rental is definitely winning in this scenario. At least as far as I'm concerned, or I'm related. I think that maybe some people it doesn't work that way, and too many distractions at home. But for me, definitely more, more productive time. When I'm at the house. So
yeah. Okay, Andy or and don't. You've lied about having seen a movie. Just to like fit into a conversation usually, but
no, I guess and don't. I don't know. I don't know why you would lie about seeing a movie. So I don't know that I ever have.
A surprising amount of people have lied about this, and it's like, I mean,
yeah, no, I don't think I've ever lied about seeing a movie.
Okay, well. Thank you for answering. Thank you for playing Andy or and don't.
Yeah.
Next we'll get into your interesting character / non-work related questions.
Oh, okay.
I wish I was somewhere warm. Wow. Where am I?
You're at Point of Rentals International Conference in Fort Worth, Texas.
This place is amazing.
You too can enjoy Point of Rentals International Conference this October. Register today at conference.pointofrental.com to reserve your space for extended software education, one-on-one learning, industry networking, great food, and fun. That's conference.pointofrental.com. See you there. So I know from past conversations or overhearing conversations, because that used to be what I did at the office, just overhear conversations and not participate in any of them.
Gotcha.
That you and Wayne have done some do-it-yourself projects in your history. What's the furthest you've gone in a home renovation project as far as doing it yourself / with friends?
Man, I've done it. I feel like I've done everything. If you put it all together, I don't know if I've done it at the same time on one project, but I feel like I've done so much.
So plumbing and electrical too?
Yeah, I've done plumbing. I've done electrical. I do remember a time I had to call Wayne come over and help me with the electrical piece, and
that's the part I'm like,
yeah, it makes me a little nervous. I can do the very, very basic stuff.
Risk is pretty high on this one.
Yeah, I can do the basic stuff, but, outside of electrical, I feel like I can, I've always thought if I wanted to, I could build a house, but I don't want to.
All right, darn. That was going to be my scheme, is to get you to build some house stuff for me.
Yeah, no, it's good to know that stuff and be able to build and do that type of stuff. But if I can have somebody else do it, it's even better.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask if there are any projects in particular you're always going to leave to a professional.
Yeah. I just assume leave all of them to professionals. To be honest with you, if I'm not working here, I'd prefer to spend my time, with family, friends, or on my bike. That's what I want to do. So yeah, right now I probably waste money having
right now you've hit a point in life where it's like, I make the money so I can pay people to do this stuff instead of
I feel like it's a waste. I can definitely get out and mow the yard, and this year my wife has always wanted to have somebody clean the house, and so that was a gift I got for her this year. And so now we just waste all our money and that we have all this time on our hand. You know what time does? You spend money when you have free time. And so, it's just the whole thing gives me spending fatigue. But yeah, I don't know that I would go back. Yeah, I don't know that I would go back. I really think it's nice to be, sipping on a glass of lemonade while the yard guys are out there doing your yards. But I like that. So no, I don't want to do anything.
Okay. What project that you've done in the past are you most proud of?
Ooh.
I mean, from overhearing the conversations, I know people like to talk about their projects and the stuff they've done in the past. So I'm sure you've. Done
Well,
something cool.
I mean, when I was in construction, we built a lot of stuff that I was pretty proud of. We specialized at one point in time in building some pretty elaborate, decks, like, overlooks and decks around swimming pools and just all that type of stuff. And recently I built a balcony at my house. We had to tear the old one down. And so I built it up, and it was a lot of work, and I forgot how much I forgot. But, when I look at it, I think, man, this stinks. It's terrible. But actually it's pretty cool. It's like a 20-foot by 18-foot balcony with bedroom access on the back of the house, and I'm pretty proud of it. It's pretty cool looking. So yeah, I'm proud of that, but I don't know. If I had to do it all over again, I can tell you right now, I would have hired somebody, because it took me a long time and it was a lot of work. So
yeah, you're proud of it, but also like you don't like it for whatever reason.
Well, you look at your own stuff. Yeah, you're your own worst critic.
It's how I feel in marketing over there. It's like we produce it and we're like, yeah, and then like we look back at it, like, oh, this is so gross.
Yeah. I look back on stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh man, look at that gap. Look at that. That's ridiculous. No professional would ever be satisfied with that. And a lot of people are like, what are you talking about? But yeah, you know how it goes.
Okay. The other thing I know is actually like a couple of food related things. First of all, you slimmed down a lot since you were. Are you pre-diabetic, or are you actually diabetic, or what actually happened with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I got in a really bad mood a few years ago, and I started giving, attitude to everybody, and I was losing weight, even though I was eating more and more, it seemed like, and I didn't know what was going on. And so I went to the doctor, and after several trips, finally figured out that I had diabetes. And so, I remember specifically telling Wayne and Greg about it, and they were both very relieved that it wasn't their fault, because I thought it was. I was like, you guys are driving me crazy, and so they were pretty relieved at that. But yeah, I was able to get everything back on track. I ended up losing about 50 pounds overall back then. Then I gained about 10 back once everything kind of regulated, got the medication right and all that kind of stuff. So now I'm kind of trying to get off the medication. Okay. I don't like drugs, and I don't want to have any maintenance drugs always going into my body. And so I'm trying to lose a little weight now. And so I think now I'm about 80 pounds overall down. Nice. From when I was my biggest, and all my numbers are good. So we'll see if I can get off the meds. I will, but that's the goal right now.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I noticed you'd slim down. And I was thinking, because my wife likes making desserts, and I like eating desserts, and I'm a little concerned that it's like, am I going to have this in my future? But then I was also kind of looking at it for a little while and seeing you and being like, could use the weight loss.
Yeah, well, I mean, the main thing I did was I just cut out sugar, because basically it's poison.
I was going to say that's the toughest part, though.
It's just poison, yeah. And so once you change your mindset and you look at it as in that is actual poison, and for me it definitely is, and so I cut that out. I didn't do anything else. I just cut that out and dropped 50 pounds, It was,
dang.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll have to see if I can get off of sugar.
Yeah, it's it's an addiction. It's just like anything else. Once you stop, after a certain amount of time goes by, if you do it again, you feel like crap.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Is there anything that you miss eating a lot that you're like, dang, I wish I could still go for that one?
Oh man, hot tamales.
Hot tamales.
Man, I could eat a 5-pound bag of hot tamales in one sitting. I just love the things, But yeah. That's the only thing that I miss, to be quite honest with you.
I was going to say, you're clearly a fire guy with your fire chips and your
oh yeah, I like everything hot and spicy.
All right. Well, that kind of, is there anything that you thought you'd miss, but it turns out like you're totally fine with?
I mean, other than sugar and the hot tamales, I pretty much eat whatever I want still.
Awesome.
Yeah, so no, not really. Just eat a lot less.
That's good. It saves on the grocery bill as well. So
yeah, it definitely does.
So that kind of reminded me. The second thing I remember is that you famously love queso, and you would often bring in a good solid queso. And now that we don't have the potlucks that we had and all that kind of stuff, not so much queso experience in the office. Let's talk about what makes a good queso. What goes into a good queso?
You got to start with cheese.
Yes, that's.
And then from there, don't discriminate. They're all good.
Okay.
I love it. Just make it hot and spicy. I love
right.
any queso. Just let's try it. If it's bad, man, you really took a left turn somewhere because I don't know how you can make queso bad.
I don't know how you messed up cheese.
Yeah, like it's cheese,
Okay. Oh yeah, I thought of a third thing. How do you really feel now that we've had a whole off season about our co-championship from the Point of Rental Fantasy Football League?
Man, you got away with it on that one. You got so lucky. I just felt so like, man, I got this in the bag. I knew where it was going.
A horrible decision to include in the finals the final week of the season because never include the final week because all the good teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
appreciate it. My daughter and I appreciate being able to play a little Nintendo Switch and play silly little Mario games. So I hope that makes it feel slightly better for you.
Yeah, not really, man. I just, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, it was fun. It was fun. That's the best season I've ever had, and it got cut short. Come Hamlin.
Come guy dying on the field.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah, that was bad. Let's not go there.
Yeah, I was going to say. What's something that if I knew more about you, I definitely would have asked about because the people need to know it about you?
I don't know.
Like I just discovered this rodeo thing.
I feel like we covered it.
Is there another cool, like weird thing that you did in the past? Like maybe you secretly were a fighter pilot or something?
No, man, that'd be awesome. I would have started with that. No, I don't know. I'm an open book, I feel like everybody knows most people know I did the rodeo that know me anyway. And, I like riding my bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of bike?
Harley.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just taking cruises or?
Man, I like to go on long trips. Yeah. I like to ride it around. I don't like to put any less than 300 miles on it at a time, whenever I get on it. So I like to go and get out of the city, get out in the country, hit the open roads, and that's what I like to do. That's my number one hobby now. But
yeah, all right, that sounds like a good one. Be safe on the motorcycle.
I
think those are loud. I had my grandma's neighbor got hit by a car with a motorcycle. What did not go well for him on the motorcycle. So
yeah, I know. There's a lot of stories. It's always out there, but if you're scared of everything, you never do anything.
It's fair. What's something that people misunderstand about you, despite your being an open book?
Well, if we're in a social setting, I think a lot of people walk away from, with that guy's a dumb redneck, thought process about me. And, there's some truth to that for sure. But I like to think I'm a little more complex than that. I think the people that know me know that.
I like to think I'm a smart redneck.
Yeah, not a dumb one. People that know me know there's definitely a little more to the story, but I don't think that they would never necessarily tell you you're wrong either, So I don't know. I'm from Texas. What can I say?
Okay. But I don't think that's something that people are going to misunderstand about. They're going to understand you're from Texas.
Yeah. I don't get a lot of questions, when they say, "Are you from Texas?" Yeah, they usually lead with that, and they're like, "You're from Texas, right?" So, yeah, maybe it's not a misunderstanding. So I don't know.
Okay. I've asked you a lot of questions. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh,
you get one.
I get one question.
Yeah. I ask you lots of questions. You get one.
So when are you going to when are you going to sit in this seat?
I have sat in that seat.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. It was back when Jules was hosting it, and I was the last guest so that I could be introduced as like the future one because she was leaving. So
oh,
it was
okay.
Very sad times.
Where do I find that?
Podcast.pointofrental.com. We have all of the old Front Porch
Oh,
episodes.
okay.
We weren't recording video back then though, so that may be why you missed it.
I do remember seeing some of those, but yeah. No, I don't know. I hadn't thought of any questions for you.
That's good. I just give that I just have it there to have it there. Hopefully people don't always ask the same question because that would be inconvenient. All right, now let's get into the 5 important questions.
Oh, okay.
5 important questions. 5 important questions? 5 important questions.
All right, our first question is, what would you say is your greatest success in life?
Oh man, my family, my kids, my 2 daughters, by far, it's not even a question. Yeah.
See, that's why I was going to have this thing where it's like, besides family.
Yeah, well, you didn't say that. So
I know.
You can't rephrase
I'll,
now.
I'll
It's too
let
late.
you give the answer that's going to get you the points with the family anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean,
and
it's
the
just
cliche
the truth.
answer.
It's just the truth, I mean, what else matters?
It's fair.
So yeah, I don't know. That's the thing I'm most proud of, obviously. I think a lot of people would probably say the same thing as they should. If they say something else, then I don't know what's wrong with them.
Maybe they assume that I'm thinking besides your family, but yeah. Okay, question number 2. What is your greatest fear?
I mean, you didn't give me the disclaimer again, so I'm going to say family related. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss something important. I don't want to miss, the having the relationship with my kids. I had kids when I was young on purpose.
Yeah.
Wasn't that young, but I want to say I was 23 or 24. My oldest was born, and that was on purpose, and so that they would be adults at the same time as me, without me being an old man, and we would still have a lot of time to be adults together and, have that type of relationship. So if something were to jeopardize that scares me,
For sure.
So that's my biggest fear is when that day finally comes, that they wouldn't look back positively about our relationship and what I've been able to give them and, things like that. So it's probably too deep of an answer, but that's
why I like asking the question, because it's open-ended. Some people take it seriously and some people don't. And I like the serious answers. So yeah. If you could tell first day at work, Andy, one piece of advice, what would you tell him?
first day at work.
Yeah. First day at point of rental, Andy. Sorry.
Get ready to be a sponge. There's just so many moving parts, with this type of, with point of rental specifically, but I think anywhere in this business, there's just so many technical things and so many processes and so many necessary things to know that it just, understand it's going to take you a while, but start paying attention and really learning. If you're coming here to just clock in and clock out, it's not going to be a very enjoyable job for you.
I don't think that's really any job. It's going to be real great if you're just coming into.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, let me tell you, it's especially true here, I think.
Yeah. Okay. What is your most embarrassing moment as a pointer?
Gosh, man, I said so.
I was going to say, you don't seem like an easily embarrassed guy, but.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, thank goodness.
I was going to say, I'm sure you've done stuff to be embarrassed about.
Oh yeah, man, I probably have so many embarrassing moments, here, but
I just need one of them.
one comes to mind. It wasn't too long after I started, and I was talking to the sales guys in the old annex, I guess, over in the other building, and I had a cup of like mixed nuts or something like that. You get to the bottom of the cup, and it's just like that.
Yeah.
Ground up salt. It's just straight salt. Yeah. Well, I just thought it was like ground up peanuts or something like that. And so I downed it, and I thought, oh no, this is a problem. And instantly I was like, man, everyone is going to see my lunch. This is not good. So I ran to my office. At the time was just a big pane of glass, shut the door so nobody could come in, but they saw me leaning over the trash can, and every one of the reps had their phones out recording. And I was just like, oh, please don't let me give a show here. And I managed to make it through it, but that was a pretty embarrassing moment, I guess.
Now I see why you like working from home. It's
Yeah. I don't have to worry about those embarrassing moments. Just go off camera.
Yeah. I'm sorry you've been sentenced to death, as now, vomiting in your office with everyone watching is a weird capital offense. What is your last meal and why?
Okay, you threw me off with the question. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry you've been sentenced to death. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
All right, so my last meal, oh man, the 4 major food groups.
Just all of the food.
The 4 major food groups. I mean, pizza, wings, queso, beer. Done.
That does sound like a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
All right, I think we can agree on that one. All these other people have these like fancy
Forget
final meals.
that.
It's like I'm going
Just
out
because it costs a
going
lot
out the
doesn't
way I
mean it
live.
tastes better. Tell me what tastes better than a pepperoni with extra jalapenos.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Change one thing about myself.
Yeah, and it's like a magic situation where it's like the change happens instantly.
I think I would care less about what other people think. Now, I can honestly say the older I get, the less I care for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of growing up,
Yeah.
but that's been, that's been a thing in my life, that I wish I could have taken away. And so, yeah, if I could just snap a finger, wiggle a nose, something like that, and then just
stop caring.
Change something about it, just care less, right? Care about the right things and not just everything. It's been a Achilles heel, just paying too much attention to what other people think. It's such a waste of time.
True. Well, I'm glad that you've started caring less enough that you're willing to come on this and not worry about
anything. Hope everybody likes what they hear. It's their problem if they don't, I guess.
Yeah. If you could change one thing at point of rental, what would it be?
Oh, you would ask me that. What would I change at point of rental?
Yeah, again, assume that you're like in charge of everything and you can magically change whatever.
Oh no. I don't know. I don't know what I would change. I mean, obviously as you identify issues and things like that, you wish you could kind of skip to the end and be able to solve the problems. But I can honestly say that, of the problems that we do have, I feel like the team is committed to solving those problems. And some of the problems are hard to solve, some of them not so much, but I don't know what I would change about that, right? Other than being able to skip to the end when the problems are solved. But, that takes away the process of learning how to solve problems and things like that. So I just don't know what I would
ruins
change.
The growth thing that you were talking about.
Exactly.
Earlier.
Yeah. It's like, if I see the light at the end of the tunnel or where we're trying to get and I know the goal, let's just skip to that. That'd be great. But, the journey, the process, all that type of stuff, if you lose that, then you don't learn, grow, figure out what to do, what not to do next time. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's probably the best part of the job right now is that stuff. So that's the most rewarding stuff, overcoming the obstacles, figuring out how to do it better. And yeah. So I really don't know. I see a lot of great things at Point of Rental right now. I don't know what I would change.
All right. Well, you sound like a coach there with all the growth speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's about process.
It is about the process. I love that part.
All right. What is your secret spice?
My secret
Sorry, your spirit spice.
My spirit spice? Oh, man. I don't know. What's the difference? Cayenne pepper.
Okay. Why cayenne pepper? Is it just, you're a very spicy person?
Yeah, I think I probably am.
I was going to say,
right?
Some
people like the hot and spicy, some people not so much. And so, yeah, I think that's how I strike people. You either love me or you hate me, so.
All right. Well, I like you. So
yeah, cool. Thanks.
That's good.
I like you too, Brian.
All right. Tell me a secret about Point of Rental. That's where I got confused with the
a secret about Point of Rental.
Yeah. It can be, something that's not commonly known. It doesn't have to be an absolute secret or anything like that. But
I don't know. I don't know a secret about Point of Rental. You gotta have to ask the really old dogs that stuff.
I ask everyone, but once upon a time in the old building, Albert told me about the secret fourth bathroom or the fourth floor bathroom.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know about, and that made the whole question worthwhile.
That was a very well kept secret.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Yeah, but that's gone now.
I was going to say no one's answer since then has lived up to that one, but
That was a good one. Yeah, I don't know of anything else.
All right. What's something, whether relating to our software, that you could teach a 3 to 5 minute class about?
Related to the software?
Related or not, it doesn't matter.
I love sales. I like the techniques behind sales, the psychology of sales, the methodology, all that type of stuff. So, pick a topic. When it comes to salesmanship and overcoming objections and getting across hurdles in sales, I would love to 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know what you could teach anybody anything. Maybe how to tie your shoes, but I really like the sales piece, so I'd be happy to teach people.
All right.
Pick a topic.
All right. I'm gathering these in a spreadsheet so that I can ask for this content in the future. So
Yeah, that's fine. I got you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Andy, for chatting today. And and to anyone who made it to this point with us, thanks for listening out there. We'll leave the Porch Library for you.
Awesome. Thanks.